Here we go. Let's dive into Patrice, the movie. The film opens with Patrice and Garry practicing their Special Olympics pairs figure skating routine. Their playful dynamic is on full display as they rehearse jumps, spins, and turns, laughing and encouraging each other. This opening not only introduces us to their relationship, but also sets the tone for the mix of romance, humor, and determination that will characterize their journey. Patrice narrates their excitement as they prepare for their first Special Olympics figure skating competition as a pair. The crowd cheers as Patrice and Garry take the ice, showing their teamwork and love for skating. The sequence is triumphant and joyful, capturing how skating gives Patrice a sense of freedom and accomplishment, even as she hints that real life is far more complicated. Patrice introduces herself in a direct-to-camera segment, calling herself a cool person with a disability who can do almost anything except dangerous stunts. Friends, family, and colleagues chime in, praising Patrice's magnetic personality, her popularity as a crossing guard, and her ability to make dreams come true for others. This early montage highlights Patrice's resilience, creativity, and the community she has built around her. Patrice reflects on her life stories, emphasizing their importance and her desire to preserve them through her artwork. She recalls her first trip to Palisades Amusement Park as a child with her mother, a rare moment of joy and adventure. This stylized flashback, inspired by her art, reveals both the special bond with her mom and the hardships of growing up with a disability in a world not built for her. Patrice remembers her early school years, when she was forced to wear a harness and leash at school, and was bullied by classmates. These scenes expose the discrimination and isolation she faced, including being called slurs and excluded from social activities. The film uses these moments to underscore the challenges she overcame and the roots of her advocacy. Patrice and Garry discuss the devastating marriage penalty, the rule that getting married or even living together could cost them their SSI and Medicaid benefits. Experts explain how these rules work and why they are so punishing for disabled couples. The personal and systemic stakes are laid bare, setting up the central conflict of the documentary. Patrice shares the pain of living apart from Garry due to the benefits rules, despite being only 20 minutes away. Garry describes the loneliness he feels when returning to his apartment alone, especially after the loss of his parents and sister. Their longing for togetherness is palpable, illustrating the emotional cost of bureaucratic barriers. With legal marriage off the table, Patrice and Garry decide to have a commitment ceremony instead. They prepare promise rings and send out invitations, determined to celebrate their love despite the risks and systemic obstacles. This scene shows their courage in choosing joy and connection on their own terms. Patrice brings her van to be inspected, only to learn that it is dangerously unsafe and at the end of its life. The mechanic describes the van's severe issues, including the risk of explosion, driving home the importance of accessible transportation, and the looming threat to Patrice's independence. The loss of the van is a major setback, pushing Patrice to the brink of losing her job and mobility. Patrice explains how she was only able to afford her previous van through a GoFundMe campaign, but that money was counted as income, leading to her benefits being cut and a brush with homelessness. She is now depressed and uncertain how she'll raise the funds needed for a new van. The scene highlights the cruel paradoxes of the system. Disabled people must crowdfund basic needs and are punished for doing so. Patrice, Garry, and their friends begin collecting cans and holding artwork fundraisers to scrape together funds for a new van. The process is exhausting and yields meager returns, underscoring the indignity and frustration of having to hustle for basic transportation. Still, their camaraderie and humor shine through, reflecting both their resilience and the absurdity of their predicament. Patrice and activists meet with Congressman Jimmy Panetta, who explains the Marriage Equality for Disabled Adults Act and the political obstacles it faces. They discuss the history of institutionalization and how outdated policies still govern disabled people's lives today. This segment connects Patrice's personal struggle to the larger, ongoing fight for disability rights and marriage equality. Patrice recounts her relentless pursuit of the crossing guard job, applying 13 times before finally appealing to the mayor. Despite repeated setbacks and discrimination, her perseverance pays off, and she becomes one of the best crossing guards in the township. This victory is a testament to her determination and serves as a metaphor for her broader advocacy. Patrice and her friends are stunned to discover that their latest fundraiser has raised $55,000, enough to buy a new accessible van. The overwhelming support brings Patrice to tears of joy as she realizes she no longer has to worry about transportation. The moment is celebratory and cathartic, but Patrice notes that it shouldn't take a miracle or crowdfunding for disabled people to obtain what they need. The film concludes with Patrice and Garry finally having their commitment ceremony, surrounded by friends and the disability community. They lead a symbolic performance in Washington, D.C., demanding the repeal of the marriage penalty and celebrating love as a fundamental human right. The movie ends on the ice, with the couple skating to islands in the stream, embracing their hard-won joy while acknowledging the ongoing fight for justice. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this recap, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment below. See you in the next one.